And it was this language which was used by Chaucer. Unlike French or Latin, which was also very much in use at that time in the by a different section of people. This was the French, and the French was the language of the court. French was the language of the ruling class, because, as I said, William Normandy had conquered England. So definitely, since he is the conqueror, the language of the conqueror dominates. So French was the language of the court. Latin was the language of the educated and the scholarly people. Latin was also the language of the church. But Chaucer did not use these two languages. He used the common idiom of the people, and he wrote a number of works. Okay, and the most famous of his, of course, is the Canterbury Tales. But other than this, he had also written the Book of Duchess, the Parliament of Fowls, House of Fame, Troilus and Cresside, Legend of Good Women, and he was influenced in his writings by the great Italian poets Dante. Dante was the writer of the Divine Comedy, and Boccaccio. And he brought a number of foreign words into English. Of course, now no longer foreign. So he wrote the Canterbury Tales, for which he is most famously known. Now, what is the Canterbury Tales? Now, Canterbury Tales is a collection of stories, of about 24 stories. And it is called the Canterbury Tales because the origin of these tales was a group of pilgrims had annually uh, the people used to go for pilgrimage to Canterbury. Canterbury, which had the shrine of Thomas Becket, who was a saint. He was later canonized as a saint. So Canterbury is the place of pilgrimage for all devout Christians. And every year, people would embark upon a pilgrimage. People would gather together, form groups, and then go to Canterbury from all over the country. And likewise, Chaucer made the Canterbury Tales out of the stories which were narrated by each of these pilgrims, because the journey was usually on foot in those times, and people used to travel during the would used to walk during the day and take rest in some inn at night, and then resume the journey the next day. So, in the course of this journey, all these people who had gathered from all walks of life, in order to make the journeys interesting, and also to enjoy the companionship and fellowship, each participant in that group would narrate a story, especially in the evening, after all the tired travelers who had walked the whole day. They would gather at an inn, and the inn mentioned here is Tabard Inn. So they would gather in the inn, and after dinner, in the evening, one of them would start telling a story in order to make the journey less tedious, and also to develop companionship among the travelers. So each of these characters would tell a tale, and these characters are a motley group. They do not belong to just one type of one category of people. They would come from different social backgrounds, social and economic backgrounds. And there are the people who uh, belonged to the clergy, people who belonged to the warrior class, people who were the traders. So the most memorable characters are the knight, then the prioress, the squire, yeoman, and others like the summoner, the pardoner, the friar, the miller, monk, then the wife of Bath. The wife of Bath is in your course, not the tale itself, but the prologue. Now, before going into the prologue of the wife of Bath, Chaucer has given a prologue to the Canterbury Tales in general as a whole. And this prologue is a work which shows the excellent uh, craftsmanship of Chaucer as well as his art of characterization. How he has characterized each and every traveler. He himself was one of the pilgrims, and he had given so lifelike descriptions of each and every pilgrim, starting with the knight. And he gives not only physical description but also descriptions about their their different professions, descriptions about their nature, and everything about that particular character. So now here, and these descriptions are so real, they are like three-dimensional human figures, and everything is written in a very humorous manner. There is also the use of satire, and in which Chaucer uses satire as a medium to point out or to make fun of the certain foibles and faults of people. He used to laugh or ridicule certain aspects of certain characters, but he does so in such a congenial manner that the satire is not scatting, or it does not have too much of cynicism in it. Whatever this group in this group, one very important character is the wife of Bath. She too, like the other characters, she too tells a tale. But before she tells a tale, there is the prologue, which gives us a very good description of the person herself. So in my next lecture, I will be going into the character, into the prologue of the wife of Bath. Till then, thank you.